While Congress had agreed to extend loans to the Allies in Europe so they could continue purchasing arms during World War I, it drew the line once the armistice had been signed. Long story short, if Europe didn't get the money to buy US food exports, and fast, the US would be facing a financial crisis. So, US government officials racked their brains as to somehow bypass Congress. And there was a loophole, and in that loophole, they found a solution. Act as if the war hadn't ended. Which was surprisingly simple, because technically, it hadn't. The Loan Act stipulated that the war only legally ended when the president proclaimed so, and he hadn't yet. One report to the US government outlined a plan of how men and materials could be put to use during the transition period after the war, and then gradually withdrawn. The report identified two vacuums left by the conflict. First off, machinery, equipment, and other capital goods needed to be replaced. Second, men, materials, and plants were needed to rehabilitate the territory desolated by the war. Why couldn't a large part of the industrial equipment that was going to be put to use there be manufactured in the United States? The reconstruction resources were initially headed to France, Belgium, and Russia, but some were rerouted to Germany and Austria, with official US sanction, in order to help keep revolution there at bay. And so, the first Victory Liberty loan was made in March 1918. However, it came with some strings attached. The money could only be used to purchase property owned directly or indirectly by the United States, so long as it wasn't needed by the United States, or to buy wheat whose price had been guaranteed or may be guaranteed by the United States. The post-armistice loans were made to cover a 3-year interim until 1921. Congress refused to sign the Treaty of Versailles. It was only on November 4th, 1921, a few months after the US had signed the Treaty of Berlin, making its own peace with Germany, did President Harding declare World War I to be officially over, retroactive to July 2nd earlier that year, the date of the Senate's resolution ending the state of war with Germany, Austria, and Hungary. Thanks for watching episode 10 of this series in which I break down Super Imperialism, the Economic Strategy of American Empire by Professor and economist Michael Hudson. If you're interested in finding out more, I highly recommend checking it out. Stay tuned for part 11.